The last thing we have to learn about is the axon hillock. The axon hillock is called the trigger zone. Okay, it's spelled Hillock, and if you look at the picture here, it actually looks like a little hill. That's a way you can remember it. You could remember that like the cell body slopes down into the axon, and that's the axon hillock. So the cell body slopes down into the axon, that's the axon hillock. Hillock. This is called the trigger zone. It's also called the zone of summation or the summation zone. So what happens is the neuron, the postsynaptic neuron, meaning the neuron that's receiving signals, gets a lot of different signals. We're going to learn what those signals are later, but for now, just think it gets stop signals and it gets go signals. It gets fire signals, it gets stop signals. It gets hold back signals, it gets goes. It gets pluses, it gets minuses, whatever way you look at it. So remember when you added things in grammar school, right? First you all added positive numbers. Remember that? And then remember what those people did to you? Negative. They put negatives in there. Damn it. I mean, they're horrible. Don't worry, I'm doing something to change that. Okay, I'm removing negative numbers. But remember you added negative numbers. Do you remember that? Yeah, you added negative numbers, and the 0 is not a number. You know, remember all those rules, and you can't add a 0 to a 1, and negative 1s and 2 negatives make a... You know the whole thing. So when you add, you have to add the stop signals and the go signals. The word summation, S-U-M-M-A-T-I-O-N, to summate means to add, adding together. So like the word self-esteem, it's your, how do you add up? How do you add yourself up? That's what the word self-esteem means. Estimate, estimation, summation, okay? We're not going to talk about self-esteem here in class, but that's what the word means. So the zone of summation, or the trigger zone, there's a specific number that this has to get to. This has to get to a specific number. So if all those signals, the positive signals and the negative signals, add up to a certain number at the axon hillock, so if the axon hillock becomes a certain number, it will say, send a signal. That's the gun's trigger. Boom, go. Once that signal is sent, that signal cannot be reversed. Once that signal is sent to the next cell or to wherever it's going, it can't be reversed. So the cell body and the dendrites receive a lot of information, a lot of signals from other sources, other cells. Other presynaptic cells are telling this postsynaptic neuron, fire, fire, stop firing, don't fire, fire. It's telling them all this information. And what the cell does is it takes that information and it gets added up. It gets added up. This is biophysics. This is very complicated stuff. But the positive and negative signals get added up, and whatever that number comes to at any given time, if it hits this specific number that we'll learn later, it triggers to send the signal, to transmit the signal. It says, go. That signal is transmitted down the axon. And we're going to learn about how that signal is transmitted down the axon.